Welcome or welcome back to the CMO Summit. Before we get going with the next helping of inspiring content, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for helping us bring this event to your screens. And don't forget, you can access even more content from articles and interviews to our podcast series at cmoalliance.io. Enjoy the next session.
Hi, I'm Jen Steele. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Reprise. And today we're going to talk about product-led growth for Chief Marketing Officer, or all about how we're supposed to embrace the deep fake. And first, I have a confession to make. Okay, I'm a marketer. I am a cynic about marketing. And in fact, if you look at the trends over the last 10 years or so, here's my somewhat candid thoughts about them. So inbound marketing. Okay, I actually started my marketing career at HubSpot. And so inbound marketing was a thing, but then it became like, wait, oh, look, people actually want to learn stuff. Who knew? And then a few years later, social selling came along. And I was like, oh, look, sales learned that people are human on the internets. And then account-based marketing, sales, now with an actual marketing assist. And then there's product-led growth, which of course we're talking about today. And I spent a couple years saying, or as we used to call it, freemium. So you should know that I'm coming from that angle as we're talking about this stuff today. Second confession, I was wrong about product-led growth. It's not the underpants nose. And what I mean by that, it's not like freemium, profit, right? And it's not just freemium. Instead, product-led growth is really using your product to grow your business. I mean, that's what product-led growth sounds like. But because we experienced it largely from kind of a freemium angle, it became really easy to think about it as freemium. And well, I did for a long time. And then I realized I was wrong. And look how big I am. I'm admitting this to all y'all here. And then one more warning. I beat metaphors to death. So buckle your seatbelts. Here we go. So what if I told you that people are still people everywhere? Okay. What does this have to do with product-led growth, Jen? Okay, we're getting there. So think about it. B2C nails product-led growth. Have for years. I mean, in the middle here, you can see all the blister packs. They suck for usability. Absolutely suck. Opening a blister pack, I swear, has managed to send some of my family members to the hospital, and I will not confess to being one of them. But what do they actually do? They show the product. Sometimes they've got the little thing where you can actually like feel the product. Or there's the packaging, like the Bop It in the upper right hand corner. That's like, try me, pull the blue thing, see what happens. We also make big purchases through essentially product-led growth, right? We tour open houses. We go visit the places we plan to live. And finally, at least in these examples, although I'm sure you can think of a ton more, we test drive a car. We use it. We know what it means. I want you to keep this car thing in mind, because we're going to explore what would happen if we treated selling a car like we have treated traditional B2B sales. Okay, so here we go. The funnel stages that I'm going to talk about, and we know this changes from analyst to analyst and moment to moment and time to time, but just for the sake of argument here, this is what we're defining as the funnel for me to beat this metaphor to death. Awareness, interest, consideration, and intent being basically marketing funnel stages, evaluation being your sales funnel, and purchase at the bottom. And because I thought you'd be really tired of me by the time we got to the purchase, I didn't go for cross-sell and upsell with this metaphor. So let's buckle up and start talking about how to sell a car in the B2B way. So let's start with awareness. Our goal with awareness is to provide educational content and build awareness that there's a problem we solve. We're trying to educate the customers, in the case of cars, on the benefits of transportation. We show maps, we show beautiful destinations, and we don't show a car. I mean, you wouldn't show your product yet, would you? So now let's get to interest. Our goal here get them interested in thinking about your brand and the solution to the problem you provide. So websites come in real handy for this. We talk about the benefits of your particular approach to achieving the benefits of transportation, and you still don't show the car. So now let's get to consideration. Our goal here, get folks to take action to communicate with you and start thinking about your product specifically. In marketing world, we want them to download a white paper, attend a webinar, all that stuff, right? So for a car, let's put together a gated brochure teaching them how to put together a road trip. But we still don't show a car. Awesome. Intent. Okay, we're trying to get them to become an MQL, right? We want them to be ready to make an appointment at the dealership, or at least be ready for us to call them nonstop to make an appointment at the dealership, because we want them to buy a car and get to our salespeople. So on our registration landing page, we talk about all the things they'll see when they visit the dealership. They will see balloons. They will see one of those inflatable dudes that keeps falling over a lot. They'll see probably streamers. They'll see well-dressed salespeople. They'll have finance options. It'll be really exciting, but we're still not going to show them the car. Okay, we've got to the evaluation standpoint. We want to drive them down the opportunity funnel to close. So they visit the dealership. And so we ask about everything they want and need to do with the car. How many people are there? Do you need air conditioning? Do you need rust proofing? Do you need all that stuff? And then you're like, great, let's make another appointment to see the car. And you still don't show them the car. So they come back. At this point, this feels exhausting, but and you show them the car. Yay, they finally see a car. You don't let them touch it, of course. I mean, they can watch you drive it, and then they'll give you the leave behind, right? The brochure, and that'll actually have pictures in the car to take home, but they can't touch the car. Awesome, purchase. You have somehow gotten them to give you money, but they have to wait for an appointment with customer success to get into the car. And at that appointment, you'll set up the car with all of their seat positions, all of their specifications, and then you can make them drive the car with you, your customer success in it for the first 8 trips until you're comfortable that they can operate the car and won't churn. We hope. Okay, I'm hoping that the metaphor is close to dead at this point, because I think you get the idea that the standard B2B sales process where we don't show the product until the second meeting is completely ridiculous when you look at a product-led growth world. So why on God's green earth do we do this to our prospects? Well, I've got some theories. Number 1, competition. What if they see our product? I have a news flash to all y'all who actually are still hiding your product. Your competition has seen your product. They have secretly shopped you. For all you know, they've got an account on your system. They have hired your people or interviewed them. I mean, we're in marketing. How many of you have also gotten randomly sent to you pitch decks and product screenshots that you didn't even ask for, but somebody sent to one of your sales folks because they're BFFs, right? So you're not going to stay ahead of the competition by hiding your product. They already know it. Okay, so let's talk about being good marketers. We've been told very much we lead with the benefits, not the features, and that means we all sound like athletic shoes. So let me take MarTech. So I've worked at a lot of different MarTech companies before Reprise. I worked at Madison Logic, I worked at Visible, I worked at HubSpot. And what I've noticed is that if you're working at a MarTech company, you're probably going to tell people that the benefit is that you grow revenue, right? Yep. Not how, because that would be a feature, but that you're going to grow revenue. And to me, that's like, oh, great. It's like an athletic shoe. Like, why don't we just go back one step further and be like, we're going to be faster, right? Or stronger or something like that. Taglines often sound like athletic shoes, but in trying to lead with the benefits, not the features, and to some extent, we have abstracted away to the point that we could sell any product. It may as well be a shoe. And then there's the big one, and it's that engineering has bandwidth to support your production environment, because that's like literally people using your product. And maybe your demo environment. And why in the world would they produce something that is so off those two things for marketing, right? Why would they create something lightweight? Why would they create a dumbed down version that we can put a harbor tour on our website? Why would they help us? I mean, I can't be the only one who's been like, hey, product, can you get me a high-res screenshot with dummy data because I have a crappy MacBook Air because they decided marketing didn't need the big screens, right? Maybe I am the only one. Okay, sorry. But you know, it's hard enough to get a screenshot, let alone engineering resources. And of course, then there's the other side, which is we've been so trained to sell the benefits and not the features that we may not even know what we need, right? If you're not thinking in terms of the product, then it's really hard to tell your engineering team what you need to use the product to market your product. Meanwhile, we're living in this world, right? These are Gartner statistics that are scaring the crap out of my sales team, at least. And I'm sure you've seen them. 43% of buyers are gravitating to rep-free experiences, and it doesn't get better as we age. In other words, so baby boomers, only 29%. So that's still 30% of folks who were above the what used to be retirement age. Gen X, cranky Gen Xers, that's me. I actually don't like talking to human beings, which is why I'm in marketing and not in sales. And so I am perfectly happy if I do not have to talk to you at all during my buying experience. And then millennials are even more so, right? 54%. And millennials aren't kids anymore, folks, right? I'll bet I'm talking to a bunch of them now as CMOs right here. It's that your decision makers are more and more millennials, where over half of them don't want to talk to a human. 58% of buyers cite demonstrations as a call to action they would respond to in a marketing campaign. That's kind of cool, because how many times have you been like, no, we can't say a demo yet. We can't say a demo yet. We can't say a demo yet in our marketing campaign. It has to be higher funnel. It has to be higher funnel. Well, maybe it doesn't. And then 50% of buyers cite demos as one of the most valuable materials during the buying cycle. Now, I'm trying to take this math, and if I back of the envelope this, that means that half of people think the demos are super valuable, but a lot of them don't actually want to talk to you. So you probably want a self-guided demo. And so now we're back in product-led growth land. So here's our solution. We need to embrace the deep fake. Okay, what the heck is a deep fake? Okay, I'm using this with a grain of salt, and I actually have to thank the folks at Pendo for calling this a deep fake, which is why I've got some of their deep fakes here. So basically, a deep fake is not your product, but it plays it on TV. So that could be a lightweight product tour, that could be a mock demo. It's one step further than that product video that maybe you've been thinking of making. And it's a few steps further than screenshots, because it usually has a few salient characteristics, shall we say. One of them is that it's clickable. People can get their hands dirty. They can really walk through it. Another thing is that it is your product. It's not some mystified version. It looks like your product. It feels like your product. It really gets across what it's like to get in that car and drive it, right? Told you I'd never met a metaphor I wouldn't break, right? Another thing is that it's usually guided. So you're not just clicking around, because that's not an optimized experience, but instead it's a product tour, and it's neat and it's clean. Pendo and some of our other customers have on their websites multiples, just so it's not just one giant immersive experience. And the other thing is that it probably shows your wow moments a lot faster. And so it works, right? That touch and feel matters. Being able to try before they buy matters. And especially if you're selling to IT or folks that are accustomed to kind of doing things for themselves, they're not going to be able to picture themselves using it unless they roll up their sleeves and use this. And I say this because before I was in marketing, I was in IT. And I bought a lot because I was an executive in IT. And yet that server would come in and I'd open it up because I wanted to touch and feel it. Even though I knew that that was simply my mail server and I could abstract out what it was like to use it, I wanted to kind of get my hands on it before I threw it in the rack. And then when it went to setting it up, I was clicking, right? So it's such a different experience. Okay, you know this. You've bought something and you think it's going to work in way X. And then when you get it in-house, it doesn't, right? It doesn't feel like that. It takes too long to set up. You don't understand what the end state is. Honestly, I've got tools in my MarTech graveyard that, because we didn't really grasp what it would be like to use it, we bought it incorrectly, effectively. So it works really well because people can see it and they can feel it and they can picture themselves using it and see it in their day-to-day lives, you know, like that car or like that open house or like the stuff that you have in that blister pack. Although hopefully getting into your product is less of a pain than getting into that blister pack. But the most important thing here is that our customers tell us that folks who do the clickable, workable product tours close at a 50% higher rate than those who do not. And that, even if you don't believe anything else that I've said, it's a stat from them. I'm going to believe them because, well, A, I like the stat. B, they're my customers. I have no reason not to trust them. But if nothing else, if you can do even a fraction of that, isn't it worth having a deep fake? So let's talk about where and how to use these deep fakes. So we've talked about website product tours. I would encourage you, one moment. I would encourage you to really think about the story you want to tell on your website. Having a complete product tour on your website, even if it's guided, is going to be exhausting for your prospects. I mean, unless you have the simplest tool in the world, in which case I probably want to buy it from you. But you need to think very carefully about attention spans, right? We think about attention spans when we do videos, for example, right? There's I don't know how many of you have had your team comes up with like a 12-page script for a demo or intro video, and you're just like, and I don't think that's going to work super well. It's the same with product tours. It very much is, you have to think about what's the one big wow thing I want to say on the homepage. And then when I'm talking about the benefit over here, not the feature. Okay, I thought it was funny. When I'm talking about the benefit over here, then what is that one piece of the product that it's like click, click, bam, right? Click, click, oh my gosh, I can totally see how that would generate revenue. Or click, click, oh my goodness, that security feature looks phenomenal. Because last time I had a problem like that, 3 people on my team had to spend a week and a half doing it, right? What is that story that you want to tell? And then you don't just have to tell the story on the website. You tell it through your marketing emails, right? And one thing we do here at Reprise is we've got an animated GIF in the marketing email, and that shows the feature we want to show, right, to get to the wow moment. And then we allow people to click into the tour, what we call a replay, into the tour, to be the click, click, bam, right? Oh, that's what it looks like. We find that works really well. I used to be a product marketer. I fell in love with deepfakes for feature launches or platform launches, because the beautiful thing is that it doesn't have to actually work yet, but you can still launch it and people can still click on it. I mean, I've got this a clear memory from a few years back of launching a major platform at a major event, and dev was behind. And I couldn't use a deepfake, didn't have a deepfake. I had to use the actual product. And so then when we were training sales, like, it was only a week out from the event. It was super stressful. We were just like, do not click this button. This button shows the marketing funnel upside down. Do not click that button. That button has a giant black bar. And my sales team did a pretty good job. They did say a few of the demos they did, and we're like, what's that button do? And that's a problem. And that's where a deep fake would have allowed me to grab the feature earlier, train sales on something. And because it is a deep fake and I could have really edited it, probably changed it so that the funnel was not actually upside down like it was with live data. So one thing my sales team loves to do is use deep fakes and leave behinds. So basically a customized guided clickable tour that they send to a prospect. And this is usually before the proof of concept stage. Like when we're doing product-led growth, we still have a proof of concept stage where there is, the proof of concept, people have logins, they build things, etc. This is before that. This is like, we've done a call or two, and we want to enable our champion, right? We want to be able to say, hey, I know you really liked this, this, and this about the product. And so here's a 7-click guided demo with very distinct clicks that instead of a crappy one-pager for product marketing and sales enablement, I'm sending you this so you can send it to your boss so that they can do a 7-click, boop, boop, wow, right? And in fact, you could even use this in sales demos. So this actually goes back to my 2018 launch where we were having problems with the demo environment itself. And so if you have a controlled environment, a deep fake, as it were, for your sales demos, and not for the deep ones, not for the whole, like when your SE gets involved and they have to heavily customize the demo. And in fact, that's something that happens here. We have an SE team that heavily will customize, future uses of the product so that people can see exactly what they want to see, etc. But in the early demo stages, having a really controlled environment, especially if your sales team can kind of fake it in just a few clicks. Oh my gosh, my SE team adores that because they're just like, you don't need me for the initial demo. We don't even know that this opportunity is qualified, right? And I have things to do over here that can close deals. Our SEs absolutely adore that. Deep fake challenges. I know I brought this up before, but competition fears. And so I'm going to tell you again that they already know it. They've already seen it, and they're already probably planning their roadmap to address your product. Second, marketers must learn a new story, or we must learn to tell a new story, right? We've been so steeped in the benefits. We have been so incredibly like, here's the benefits, here's the thought leadership, how do we MQL it, that we don't necessarily think along the lines of, okay, how do we tell that story with our product? How do we talk about this benefit and show our product doing it, right? And the other thing that I really actually appreciated about having to learn to use deepfakes in my marketing is that it even made me tell a different story, because sometimes you can get really absorbed in the story itself, like, oh, this thought leadership about A, B, and C, and your product has actually gone to do X, Y, and Z because that's what actual customers want. It keeps them from churning. And so for me, by sticking closer to the product because I'm trying to use the product, sometimes it's forced me out of going a little too far with the story. Because, I don't go too far with anything like car metaphors. And then finally, sales has to learn a new process, right? You can't only have them drive the car or actually watch you drive the car on your second meeting anymore, because they've already seen it. They've already seen your product. They probably already know what piece of your product they want to use, right? They're like, oh man, this one thing that did this one feature, right? So sales, the generic demo is almost gone, right? And the disco and then the demo call is definitely gone, because quite honestly, 43% of them don't want to talk to you anyhow. 50% of them say the demo is the most powerful. If you're not getting to that demo on the first call, you've got a problem. So in conclusion, treat prospects as people. Show them the car, show them the stuff in the blister package, let them pull the lever. Second, you need to keep up with the millennial buyer. It turns out that people don't stop retiring. And as we get older, we do tend to rise up in our organizations. You need to keep up with the millennial buyer or you're going to get left behind. And this even goes for those of you in industries where the buyer is not a millennial yet. It's really only a matter of time. And actually, if your buyer is not a millennial yet, I'm kind of surprised. You must be in an industry that's not software like I am. And finally, given a deep fake, you really can and should tell your story with your product better than you ever have. Thank you so much.